All right. So the devotion that I'm going to read this morning is Leadership Qualifications. It says, even the prophet Samuel was fooled when he looked at Jesse's oldest son, Eliab. He naturally assumed that God must have chosen this noble and sturdy young man to be the Lord's anointed leader. But the Lord makes it clear in this passage that people he chooses to do great things for him are called on the basis of inward character, not on the basis of outward impressionism. Verses 8 through 11 tell us that Jesse, David's father, didn't even include David in the lineup of his sons. He was an afterthought to Jesse. But qualification for leadership is not measured by inches or pounds or degrees or background. What does God look for? Why is it that when Jesse and Samuel were looking at Eliab, God was looking at David? God's qualifications for leadership are evident in verse 7. Read that verse again. I'll read that in just a second. For elaboration on what a leader's heart should look like, flip over to 1 Kings 3:6. I have that pulled up. I'm going to read it. It says, Solomon replied, you showed great and faithful love to your servant, my father David, because he was honest and true and faithful to you. And you have continued to show this great and faithful love to him today by giving him a son to sit on his throne. Whatever else qualifies people for leadership, no one is qualified for greatness by God's standard until their heart is ready. The leader's prayer and focus of effort must center here. Skills, intelligence, and hard work are all a part of the package, but God reminds us that in the final analysis, one thing makes a difference. God looks into the leader's heart. And 1 Samuel 16 says, now the Lord said to Samuel, you have mourned long enough for Saul. I have rejected him as king of Israel, so fill your flask of olive oil and go to Bethlehem. Find a man named Jesse who lives there, for I have selected one of his sons to be my king. But Samuel asked, how can I do that? If Saul hears about it, he will kill me. Take a heifer with you, the Lord replied, and say that you have come to make a sacrifice to the Lord. Invite Jesse to sacrifice, and I will show you of which of his sons to anoint for me. So Samuel did as the Lord instructed. When he arrived to Bethlehem, the elders of the town came trembling to meet him. What's wrong? They asked. Do you come in peace? Yes, Samuel replied. I have come to sacrifice to the Lord. Purify yourselves and come with me to sacrifice. Then Samuel performed the purification rite for Jesse and his sons and invited them to sacrifice too. When they arrived, Samuel took one look at Eliab and thought, surely this is the Lord's anointed. But the Lord said to Samuel, don't judge by his appearance or his height, for I have rejected him. The Lord doesn't see things the way you see them. People judge by outward appearance, but the Lord looks into your heart. And I really liked how in here it said, qualification for leadership is not measured by inches or pounds or degrees or backgrounds. And I feel like so many times, whenever, sorry, the iPad automatically changes the camera. I don't know how to stop it. But whenever we are like wanting to serve Jesus or getting closer to Jesus, so many times we think that we are not ready, we're not qualified enough. And I know last week I talked a little bit about how like when I really started to dig into the Bible is whenever I, felt so much closer instead of like just going to church. And so I was going to share a little bit of my testimony with that. And I feel like for so long I was just going to church and I would not serve in the church or even do little things because I did not feel ready. I did not feel qualified. I felt like things at home were a mess. I was not ready. Like not that I didn't feel like I was able to do it because I didn't have my life together. And even though I told people so many times that God wants you in the midst of your chaos, he wants you when everything's crazy, I still didn't believe about myself. And I thought, well, until this is right at home, until I do this, until I know the whole Bible, by memory, like I just can't do it. And one Sunday morning we were worshiping at church and I just went to the altar and started praying. And of course, Kara came up there was praying with me. And I just felt God tell me while I was there, stop fighting the battles. That he has this, it's not my battle to fight anymore. And two, he said to me, do what you need to do what you're supposed to do and focus on yourself and stop trying to fight all the other battles. And so that day I stepped away and I did that, and pastor made an announcement about they're having the next step class at church. And I was like, well, going to that. So then I went to our next steps class. Is just a little class that we have to take before we can start serving at the church. So I did the Next Steps class, and where I was able to start serving in our church, just greeting people, working Connect Us, things like that. Hold on, baby. And then we went to Georgia. And while we were in Georgia, they told us about Kaneo, which is a ministry training center, and something that I did not even think would be for me. Did not think that would be for me, but then Karen and I started talking and decided that we're going to do this. And then whenever we started joining Kaneo, it's truly been a life changer. But in Kaneo, it said that we have to have practicum hours that we have to, serve. And I was literally finished my classes for Next Steps a week before. So I wouldn't have even been able to serve. It just got aligned. So many things for me. And I feel like since I started being obedient to him and I started just focusing on him, he has taught me so much. And I know, I still don't know the end of what's going to come of all of this, but I know that he has a great plan. I know that he's training me for some reason, that I'm doing this ministry classes for a reason. I'm serving our church for a reason. I cannot wait to find out what it is. But so why are you because so many times we feel like we have to have it all together. We have to be ready before we step out and serving. And that's not the case. You can step out and serve in the littlest ways and make a difference. And I think with Plexus, we do the same thing. What I love about Plexus is you don't have to have the degree. You don't have to have everything together. You don't have to be perfect. And you can do this. You can do this opportunity. Anyone is capable of doing it if you're willing to put into the work and do it. You don't, like I said, you don't have to go to college and have all the degrees, and it can literally change your life. If you're willing to put the work into it, stop. I'll wrap it up. If you're willing to put the work into it and be consistent month after month, even when things get hard, even whenever you don't feel like you're prepared, and just do it, that in the end, it is so worth it. And like it said, skills, knowledge, and hard work are all important. But at the end, it's your heart. And I feel like that goes the same way with your mindset. Whenever you put in the work, but you be mindful of what you're spending your time in and what you're doing. I'll go ahead and pass it on. I can go back and do incentives in a minute, Kara.
That was really good. I think you had all of us a little bit emotional, right there, just sharing. And I just love how faithful he always is in the midst of everything. And it does relate so much to our business and what we're capable of. And I just feel like I think that's one reason that we get told no so often, whenever it comes to our business or people wanting to work the business, or people show up for a minute and they'll kind of disappear and stuff. Is just people do not have they have a lack of belief in themselves. They don't believe that it's something that they can do. They don't believe that it's something that will actually work for them. And that's just one skill that we have to learn to develop as leaders, is being able to see the potential and be the belief for that other person while they are building their own belief. I want to talk a little bit about changing things a little bit on the way that we are talking to people, and also talking about our comfort zone a little bit. That's another thing that I think is an issue with people whenever it comes to this business, is people not wanting to get out of their comfort zone. It is still, guys, I have been in this business for 10 years. I'm constantly trying to push myself out of my comfort zone. I'm trying to do things that are hard. I try to do things that challenge me, and it's still always that case. It doesn't ever really get easier to make yourself do things that are uncomfortable. It doesn't necessarily get easier to make do things that are hard. But something that I say a lot are things that yield the most fruit require the most sacrifice. And I feel like you're sacrificing your comfort when you step out of your comfort zone. And those are the times that magic starts happening. And that's whenever you start to grow, and that's when you start to become better. and just taking time to reevaluate things. There's a couple things that I want you guys to take time to do this month. And if you want to do it in the chat right now, if you can just think of things on top of your head, that would be great. And then maybe it'll give a couple other people ideas. But I want you to look at your business from January to November, and I want you to think about your wins. I want you to think about your high moments. I want you to think about the things that you are grateful for. So whether it be things that you've earned, whether it be people that you've impacted, whether it's been ranking up, what are some of your wins and what are some things that you are grateful for? So if you can think about that for a second and share a couple of those. For me, I obviously have some things that just really pop into my head of things I'm super grateful for. I'm grateful for things that it's done for my family. I'm thankful for the rank advancements that's happened this year for myself, for my sisters, for all of you across the team that have hit milestones. It's so fun to see all of that. I also want you guys to take some time and think about either people on your team or either sideline people that you feel like you work well with that you would want to link arms with. I think that sometimes it is good to have accountability. And I know especially early on in my business, I had a friend that we called ourselves power partners, and we just bounced ideas off each other all the time. And one thing that happened in that relationship is that person and I got really, really close, and we still have this incredible friendship years later, but it's also kept both of us motivated. It kept both of us encouraged in times that we wanted to walk away. Like it would have been, it was harder to do that because I was connected to this other person and we just kind of kept each other going. So that's not something that you have to write down, but it's something that you can think about. And if anybody specific comes to mind, you can reach out to that person and you can see if that's something that they would want to do, like going into the new year, is maybe linking arms together and building yourselves up to the top. And it does not have to be, I mean, it can be somebody on your team, but sometimes it's good just being a sideline too, because sometimes I feel like you can share things with maybe, people on your sideline than maybe to somebody you wouldn't want to share on like your downline or whatever. Another thing that I talk about all the time, never going to stop talking about it, is thinking about your goals, things that you want to happen for your business in the month of December, but also in this next year. Big milestones that you want to hit, and then also the little things that you want to hit, the little things that you want to develop, the leaders that you want to develop, things like that. And I want you to think of an area in your business that you want to improve on. One area is all I'm asking for. Whatever it is, think of the one area. Whether you want to get better at conversations, whether you want to get better at like reach outs or whatever it may be, whatever skill it is, and then take time this year and develop that skill, get better at it. One of the areas that I want to get better at is not being afraid of like hearing no and not being afraid of rejection. So I have noticed one thing about my personality. I've definitely noticed it the last couple of years is I do not handle rejection well at all. Like, and if somebody rejects me, like whether it's in my business and it's not even a personal rejection towards me, or if it's like a family member, like if I'll invite somebody to do something or I'll ask somebody to do something. Hold on. Wait. No. I will shut down and I will never want to ask that person again. Like if or like something like that. Like I can think of one person specifically, like we used to hang out a lot. And then
last night, so he said he won't have.
I asked them if they wanted to hang out and they said no. And that happened it was just live things that happened. And then I caught myself not ever wanting to reach out to that person anymore, just because I felt rejected in that scenario. So it was like a brain thing that I had to overcome. They had stuff going on. It wasn't a rejection towards me. And I think that we do this whenever it comes to our business, as far as asking people to work the business. It does not bother me at all if people say no to the products or not right now. Like I have, experienced that so many times that I've stretched my comfort zone in that area that it is no longer out of my comfort zone to be rejected if somebody says no, the products aren't for me right now. But whenever it comes to business builders for me, sometimes if I hear no, I don't want to bother that person anymore, anything like that. So one of my things this year is that I'm going to make a point to give people the opportunity to tell me no, they do not want the business more than one time, because seasons change, things change. And it actually takes somebody saying no 7 times in a lot of scenarios before they're willing to say yes. And I think about my own journey with the business. I literally said no to my mother the first time that she asked me about Plexus. And it took me time to evolve to get to a point where I was ready to say yes. So one thing that I have actually learned this in my Diamond Sprint group, and I thought it was really good, is because people saying no to the business is not abnormal to us in the way that we do things. That's been one of my favorite things, is being partnered with a lot of other jewels and diamonds, is seeing that they have the exact same struggles that we do in our business, regardless how they're working their business. They sign up people all the time that want the product and they cannot get them to work the business. That is not unusual. The reality is that most people do not want the business, and that is normal, and that's okay. But she said something to me. She said something on our call that just really, like, I don't know, it was like a mindset shift. She said that if I told you in this room there are 1,000 people and 2 of those people are guaranteed to be the next diamonds on your team, how would you feel about going through every single one of those other 998 people and asking them so you could get to your 2 diamonds? She said you would be willing to do it. But the problem is we do not believe that those diamonds are out there. So I was like, it was just, for me, it was a big, I guess, like mindset shift, is just having to believe that that next person could be my diamond. Like, that is a possibility, and being willing to weed through and go through all of the people and let them know the opportunity of the business in the midst of it. So another thing that she talked about was, like, whenever you're like preparing people to let them know that you are going to have the conversation about the business. And I think this is going to, in my mindset, is going to make it a little bit easier for me whenever it comes to having those business conversations, because sometimes we feel like we've talked to them about the products and now we're just trying to shift them into the business, and you don't ever want it to seem unauthentic, sort of thing. Like, you want it to be coming from a place that that, you know, you're there to help them, or whatever it may be, but you also want to show them that it's possible. So sorry, I got all my notes here. So I think after our pricing script, we need to say something like, most people get in and they want to recoup the cost of their products. So if you decide to do this, I just want to let you know that that's a conversation that we can have then. And then after they like start going through the sign up process or whatever, like, throw that in again. Hey, again, just want to remind you that a lot of people want to know how to recoup the cost of their products. So that's something that we can talk about later. And then after they sign up, you can be like, hey, remember whatever we talked about, most people are wanting to recoup the cost of their products. Are you open to me showing you how you can do that? So it's already been like planted in their head a couple times, and it's not just necessarily coming out of left field. And then you can have those conversations with them then about, you know, I pride myself in getting my helping others get their products paid for, you know, the script that we use. And again, she just reminded us that no's are completely normal. So, and these are like in the training groups that I'm having with the jewels and stuff like that. Another thing that I thought was kind of helpful is, okay, so Maynard's going to talk about our incentives that we have this month, and it's going to be like the North Face jacket and stuff like that. So whenever we're having this conversation, most people, like a lot of people, start the business because they're going after the shiny things. Like, people do not want to necessarily believe that they're working a business, but they wouldn't mind earning a fun incentive. So we have to make that available to people. So like reaching out to people and letting them know about this North Face jacket, we need to come up with good scripts and I haven't wrote a script out yet. If anybody has, then, you know, you can throw that in Rank Makers, but if not, I'll work on one. But letting people know that, but thank you. So she talks about the referral program, like if you're working your business on a referral based thing. So this, this is whenever you're reaching out to all of your level ones that have no interest in the business. So what she does is she asks them like, hey, I know you're not interested in working the business at all, but I'm still looking for more people that I can help. Is there any way that you would be willing to make a Facebook post? And, you know, you'll tell them what to say. So like, so you can refer people back to me or whatever. And then if they say yes, and then they can make that Facebook post, what she does is she definitely leaves this person out. She doesn't do three-way chats or anything like that. She takes over all of these people in this chat. And then maybe, you know, Barbara and Chelsea are like, yeah, I'm interested. I want to do this. She'll go back to this person and she'll be like, hey, Barbara and Chelsea said that they are wanting to do this. I just wanted to check back with you again. Like, do you have any interest in working this business, or do you just want to refer them to me? And if they have no interest in working the business, then she says she just signs them up as a level 1, and then she just moves on with it. And because she gives them the opportunity and they have no interest. And one thing that I've noticed is if somebody is my level 1, I do a lot better job working with them than my level 2 sometimes, because whenever you're looking at your team, so then you're going to continue that relationship in that business. And then you can do the same thing with them. So those are just some tips that I felt like could possibly help us. Amanda, you want to go over to incentives?
Yes, I figured out how to get my camera to stop moving. So. Okay, so like Kara mentioned this month that you had the chance to earn a North Face coat. I'm super excited about that. And so if you sign 3 people who order a welcome pack or 100 PV, then they get the North Face coat. You can either sign 6 people and get 2 North Face coats, or you can sign 3 people and then advance a level 1 to silver, which is kind of what we're trying to focus on doing as well. You also still get free shipping on orders over $175. And then we have $20 off reset with an order of $50 or more. The join fee is back up to $9.95, but we can still use SAM 2020 for 10% off.
Okay. Yes, Mom, I will send those scripts. And I was looking at all the things that you are grateful for in the chat as well. If anybody else has anything else to add there, you can. I had a thought and I lost it. So just give me a second to try to get it back. I really wanted to share it. Does that drive anybody else crazy when they have a thought? I know as soon as I hang up, I'm going to remember it.
I think it'll be really good to, whenever, definitely mention how we can help them get the products paid for before they sign up. But I think it'll be really good once they sign up to really start trying. We need to come up as a group a really good Facebook post. That doesn't sound like a sales post like all the other spam things we see going around, but some good testimony or some good Facebook post. Maybe it's something we do in sites to get people to start sharing on their own Facebook. And then, like she said, maybe instead of yard sale sites, we can get people to start commenting on other people's profiles. And then we can go back and say, do you want these people? If not, then we can, so another way for us to add more friends to our Facebook, because we can add all those people, add more friends and get more people coming in for those who sites are going slow. Maybe we can start turning this around other ways.
Yeah. And I mean, that's what you do whenever you're successful. When something seems like it's like not working here, then just figuring out different things.
Definitely keep doing sites, because one day they're awesome, the next day they're not. So you just have to do it every day and hope for that good day, but we can do other things on top of it to keep going.
Yeah, 100%. Also, I mentioned accountability in the, I mentioned it earlier, like linking arms with people, but also in the chat and stuff. So one thing that makes it like the buy sell trade system thing is super easy for me. Like I've said that before, like literally second nature. And I feel like it's second nature to a lot of you guys too. The win the day system is not as second nature to me. And it's something that I'm personally like I'm really having to like make myself do that, like the thought process of it. Like it's not in my comfort zone yet. I'm still stretching there. But that's something that they've been teaching us in this Diamond Sprint group. And there's been a couple people that have really been like, and one of the things that they're doing on this win the day system is really going after more business builders. So they're making their posts like geared towards that. They're making it do that. Last month, whenever they started it, there was a couple girls in it that were really consistent with it. And they ended the month and they just signed up a couple people it was an okay month, but then they've been so excited in there this month because they're talking about like their funnel being full and all these people are finally that they've been talking to last month are the same thing as buy sell trade. It's just using this other system. They're signing up all these people that are like coming out of the woodworks based on this system that they're doing. So like Amanda said, putting them side by side, but it's the same thing like that we always say with buy sell trade. It's consistency that matters. So I think that I'm going to throw together a chat and I'm going to throw in like win the day things that we're going to do in there every single day. And then I don't care to do it in Rank Makers if people want it in Rank Makers, but I don't want to put it in Rank Makers if there's like several people in there that have no interest in this. So I think I'm just going to throw a poll in there. And if you want in it, we'll see what the reaction is. If there's a handful of us, we'll go to a separate chat. If there's like, 30 people in Rank Makers that want to do this, we'll just keep it in Rank Makers. But maybe we can all use this accountability this month as we are trying to learn something new in the midst of it and then pair it alongside with our buy sell trade, because I want everybody to feel like they are winning and I want everybody to feel like they have control of their business and they feel successful and you are not lost because you don't feel like your sites are not taking off or something like that.
Yes. I heard a quote. I wrote it down on my phone. Kids took off my phone, so I hope I get it right. I think I heard it when I was watching Chosen on a commercial the other day, but it said, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And I think that like is so much for our business too. Like you can try to get there really fast doing everything on your own, but being accountable and coming to your team and reaching out, like you can go so much farther by having others to partner up with, like Kara was talking about.
That's one thing that they get onto us for in that diamond sprint group is she's like, you guys are high achievers and you have the mindset, like, let me just do the things, like I can do the things. And then she's like, then you're working 60 hours a week and you're burnt out. She's like, let me teach you how to be able to work 10 hours a week and have the time freedom that this business gives you because you have an entire team that is also working with you. I was like, yes, that is what we need. Mom, do you have anything you want to talk about or say? You're muted.
You've pretty much covered everything that I had on my list, but as far as I was thinking this morning, as far as the business side and really working on your vision for the business and what you have to offer, think about like you need $300 this month. You need it every month. $300 extra. You already have your job. You don't have Plexus or you don't have a job. I don't know. What would you do? How would you get that $300? How many hours would you have to work overtime to get that $300? How many would you have to ask your mom? Would you have to ask your friend? Like, what would you have to do to get this $300? And there are so many people out there struggling so bad right now. The prices, everything, the holidays on top of everything. And it's just something to think, like you literally have that to offer every single person that you talk to, and no one will turn it down if they believe that you could help them get it. So just instead of thinking like huge numbers, bring it down to that little bitty number that is possible. $300.
I think that's a mindset thing for a lot of people too, is if you tell them that you can help them earn $300, that's more believable than coming in and saying, I can help you make 3,000, because people's walls will go up immediately because it's just not in their mind. It's just not doable or believable yet. Okay. Anybody have any questions? Anything you want to add? Comments? Anything? Nothing. Okay. Well, I hope this brought value to you guys today. I hope it was helpful, and we will see you on Facebook.
Thank you.